for joining. Are you ready to do it? Yeah? Okay. Good? All right.
Okay, let's go.
All right, so welcome everybody to our For You Fitness podcast. Today we have a very special guest, Mr. Richard Storey.
Hello.
He is a very enthusiastic, as you can see. He is one of our phenomenal trainers at For You Fitness in Tampa. And I have the pleasure of working with him on a daily basis, kind of like my brother. So today's special episode is kind of like a Q&A, kind of an Ask Us Anything. And we're going to try to cover just some basic topics that we hear every day as trainers. So we just kind of want to clear the clutter a little bit, work out some fluff, and go from there. But before we start, I do want to say that the responses we do provide, there's really no one-size-fits-all approach to this. There are no absolutes. You do have to experiment with yourself. Everybody is different. Just again, this is based a lot on what we see on a daily basis and the experience we do have as trainers. Yeah? Okay. All right. So we're going to get started with a few questions that our clients have asked. I'm going to start with you, Richard.
Okay.
All right. So question number 1. Why do I feel my shoulders when I do a bench press?
Gotcha. I think with this question, I automatically think I'm like, what area or what region of the body are you trying to target would be helpful. And so typically if you're experiencing a lot of shoulder activity during a bench press, your structure, you may not be actually set up to do a bench press and target other regions like the pec, which a lot of people are looking for. So what will happen a lot of times is that the shoulder, you guys can see this, will end up exceeding kind of this line right here, and the front of the shoulders will take over. And then also, if your elbows are really low, that's also going to help. So if your grip, if you're not able to basically hit this angle with the elbows wide, as you see, like mine will go back pretty far, but with the bar there, depending on the individual, if they're trying to target their chest, if you don't have like a very large rib cage, you'll end up exceeding that line and then working a lot of the shoulder anterior delt. So if you are trying to target pec, which this question doesn't specify, might be good to do like a floor press or experiment with the angle of the bench and trying like a decline or an incline press, and maybe trying dumbbells if you're not already doing so. And there's tons of other ways to target different muscles depending on what you're going after, other than just doing a bench press. So ask yourself, why am I doing the bench press? And then is this even targeting the muscle that I'm wanting to? And then if not, then adjust that by maybe picking a different exercise or changing the range. Like you don't have to come all the way down to the chest unless you're a power lifter, because only power lifters need to do that for their sport.
Got it. So as a female, I do chest press occasionally. I find that I experience the same thing. I experience a lot of pressure in my shoulders versus my pectorals. But I think a lot of that has to do with, underdeveloped chest muscles, you think?
Maybe.
As well?
I think, again, if you tried like a floor press or something, it may set you up in a better position. And then also, as you're going through that, not locking the elbow out. So just kind of focusing your intent on the pec, which is tying into the front of the delt. But just staying with that motion, maybe a good start. And also something like chest flies too, maybe from like a machine.
I always feel that a little bit more.
And then the same thing. So when you're setting yourself up for these things, making sure that you have the right angle. So when you extend your arms out, you make sure that like the pec is in line with also the force that you have. So you're not like way down here trying to do that necessarily or over exceeding any range that you have. And then maybe be able to target that way.
Awesome. I think that was a pretty good answer. Yeah?
Hope so.
Okay.
If you guys have questions, please ask.
Yeah, please ask. All right. So I'll take this next one. This is one we hear quite often. The question is, I absolutely hate water. What else can I have? All right. I'm going to give you a few options. Okay. So if you're at home and if you have the time, we're going to want you to add in some fresh fruit, maybe some mint, some lemon. That is an easy way to infuse your water. Now, some of us are really lazy and don't want to do that. So you can search online or even Costco or maybe Sam's. They do make ready, already infused waters. One specifically a client brought in, I think a couple days ago, was called Essence pH 10, and it was infused with hibiscus. No, don't go anywhere, Lizzie. Our guest is leaving us, as you can see.
Over this conversation. She's like, you guys are too good for water. I'm fucking done.
Yeah. But if you don't like infused waters, you can try loose leaf or herbal teas. Some good flavors out there: peppermint, chamomile, ginger. Also, you can go for a bone broth of sorts. That's also a great source of collagen as well. And you can also keep it simple by trying some LaCroix or Perrier, which is just carbonated waters. Any recommendations from you've given a client as far as just options?
Salt and lime or lemon.
In addition,
I think that like the salt will bring some minerals that are typically lacking in certain waters, especially if it's like a reverse osmosis or something.
Yeah.
It kind of like strips all the minerals from the water.
Right.
And I know that like people need minerals in their water. Like you think if you got your water from like a river or stream, like it's on rocks, it's gonna be pulling off minerals.
Yep.
Whereas like our stuff tends to be pretty deplete of any nutrients, so it makes sense that people don't like drinking bland water, I guess, if you can say that. It's the weirdest thing I think I've said, bland water. But I think adding that in would help.
Salt
and they'd also retain more, because I think a lot of people end up drinking a ton of water and then they're just like flushing out.
Absolutely.
And they're actually not even hydrating.
Right. So salt's not a bad thing, guys. You have to have a good amount of sodium in your body for things to function correctly. And if you are a profuse sweater, or if you're not recovering from your workouts, salt also is a great addition to that, right?
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah.
Coconut water, maybe.
Yeah, I think processing and things like that.
Yeah,
it
depends.
Really sure.
Quality is different. It's going to be different for every source of water that you do choose. But there are other options out there. At the end of the day, I think as long as your urine is somewhat clear throughout the day, I think that's a sufficient amount. You say?
Yeah, most people, I think, they complain about like with the water. I mean, I don't know if it's what is it? This one was absolutely hate water. I didn't give a reason, but I think they get really busy and then they don't want to like go up and pee. So
bathroom
doctors
issues.
And there are people who have really busy schedules of typically
you can't afford
not wanting to go around just peeing all the time.
Yeah, we do have clients that travel, and I've made it a point to tell them, know your spots, meaning whether it's a hotel you can stop at, a restaurant you can stop in to use the bathroom, but some people just can't afford that luxury of just going to the bathroom whenever. We get that luxury, but we get it. If you can replenish at night, do the best that you can. We know that it's going to be a constant struggle, but if you go without water for a certain period of time, one day, just kind of pick it up the next day if you can. Balance it out a little bit.
I think maybe adding in like the minerals of some kind will help them retain. I think for people like that, especially, or Pedialyte might be a good idea as well for some like electrolytes and things like. Yeah, of course. So maybe diluting it with water.
Pedialyte.
So get some minerals in there.
That's a new one. All right, that's a good one. Okay, back to you, sir. Okay, so this one's a good one. We're working on it.
Both like, that was bad.
The client asks or states, I sit at a desk all day, every day. What can I do to improve my posture?
All right. So in the short answer, I want to say sit up straight, but I think the bigger, more detailed response to that is like how you're doing it. So typically, and hopefully you guys can kind of see this, but when people sit up straight, they really like tend to start that motion from like mid thoracic spine. So they're doing this to try to sit up straight rather than, you guys won't see it, but like rolling my hips and my lumbar spine to keep me more upright. And that'll create a much better base of support for you. And yeah, essentially that would be the main one. And then also pulling your head back maybe away from your computer, which is so common. How many people we see in here every day. And I think we also do the same thing, is like we'll just end up really like staring down, and then also our phones and everything else. So try to pull your head up over your shoulders, because that thing's heavy and it'll weigh on the rest of your the back and neck musculature, which is another common complaint people will have about like neck and back problems, and they say they feels tight, but it's like those muscles are almost like contracting to hold your heavy ass head over your shoulders. So bring it back and take some stress off your life. And
well, speaking of your head being heavy as hell, a lot of the clients, or just people in general, they walk with their head forward like this.
Yeah, it becomes like a pattern that they almost like ingrain. Yeah. And then like they've been doing it all day for however many hours, and then they just kind of get stuck like that, and they forget, and it's like you can remind them, but ultimately it's up to the individual to just be aware of that and just keep retraining themselves to do it.
What do you think about those kind of back cradles, I guess, or they pull your shoulders back. What's your take on that?
I think just from my experience, it's not the shoulders that need to come back, it's the head that needs to come back. So if they could attach it to their head and pull it back and then be comfortable walking around like that, that might be a good start, like training wheel wise. If you guys want to do that, that'll look good.
And then what I think I asked you this before, those neck cradles where it's literally your neck is in a hammock.
I think that one was for laying down, right?
Yes, it was more a supine kind of thing.
Yeah.
Will that help at all, I think, for posture?
Again, it becomes a habitual thing. Like, they have the musculature there to do it. Mm-hmm. Now, certain people may have certain problems where, like, maybe their spine is fused in a way like this, so that would take a lot of work, and maybe they probably may never get to neutral, depending. But for most people that have like a decent structure that's not completely dysfunctional, can just pull their head back. While you're seated, roll your hips instead of trying to arch your upper back too much. Because that really hard arching I see all the time, like it seems like everybody walks around like trying to stay up tall. Yeah, it becomes dysfunctional even that way, doing it like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Nancy is asking if there are any thoughts about kombucha.
Kombucha! Oh, great question, Nancy. So, side question, what do we think about kombucha? Me personally, I probably have kombucha is a fermented tea, and great for your gut, good probiotic. However, I think people now are really jumping on this bandwagon of I have to have kombucha every single day. I feel like that's overdoing it. Me, from what I've read, maybe 2 to 3 times a week just for a kombucha, because there are other fermented foods that you should be consuming, like
sauerkraut,
kimchi. Yeah, kimchi. It's gonna be very
yogurt,
yeah. Kefir, probiotic yogurts. Again, kombucha is one solid source of a probiotic. I think it can be implemented easily. I just sometimes think it's being abused now. People are over consuming it. Everybody's guts are different.
Yeah. For me, I drink I think at least 1 or 2 a day.
Oh, really?
But I feel fine, so I'm not trying to counter you.
I know it's different for everybody, obviously.
I just like the way they taste is the main thing.
I do too, yeah.
I think for the people who are drinking them, ask themselves why, because I know probiotics have become pretty popular. And so to those people who do have probiotic pills, do yourself a favor and really look into how those were made and the processing behind them, because there's so many on the market, and with all supplements, the way that they're processed and then shipped and they get to you is really important. And probiotics, the little bacteria, are very sensitive, so a lot of them die before they actually make it, not only to you, but then also into your digestive tract. So really do homework on that is all I can say, and make sure that they're taking care of those things before they get to you, because they're expensive.
Heck yeah, man. But you can sometimes find them on sale. Costco carries one. Synergy, I believe. Get it at Costco. There you go. Plug for Costco. All right. Great question, Nancy Pants. All right. So let's go to a food question. Client says, I work out early in the morning around 7 or 8 a.m. Is it better to eat before my workout? I'm going to start by saying that this is highly individual. There are so many factors that we have to consider when it comes to this person and what they need, as far as the intensity of their training, their health history, just their background in general is going to be very important. What did they eat the day before? What did they, how did they sleep? There's so many different variables. Thank you. But we do have clients that actually fast through their workouts in the morning, and they're just fine. They have more clarity, they have more energy, nothing is weighing them down. But then we do have some clients, I'd say a few, that absolutely need something in their digestion to feel like they can get through their workout. It's almost a mental thing.
Yeah,
a lot of it is mental. Oh, I need those carbs to keep my energy up and things like that. But when we have transitioned some clients from, carb loading beforehand to just not eating at all. We've had major successes with a lot of these clients. So it's going to be different for everybody. But if you do decide to eat something pre-workout and it's earlier in the morning, you're going to definitely want something lighter and something that is going to be easy for your stomach to digest, meaning eggs, some overnight oats, maybe a whey protein isolate. So something, again, lighter. I wouldn't say go heavy, like do large amounts of dairy and things like that. But again, everybody's going to be different.
Pancakes.
Easy to digest.
Oh, no, I was just
Why
kidding.
not?
I was joking.
But that's quick, though. I mean, if you're going to go pancakes, we don't want you going to IHOP.
And then go and do jumping jacks for at least an hour during your workout.
All right. So that question, again, a little loaded, but do you have a preference in eating before your workouts?
I mean, for me, I feel like my body will reject any kind of food in the morning in general. That's why fasting tends to sit well with me. I think it's for people if they feel like they go into the gym and they're just a little hungry. It might be from the kind of the pattern they've built up of eating at a certain time every morning. But I would think if try a workout and if their musculature, like if their muscles don't feel like they're falling apart and they're really, really weak, then try to just skip and see what happens. And then over a couple weeks, if that changes, then you have a new pattern.
Right, absolutely. It does take time to adjust to all of this. Yeah. Remember, you have to make note of when you do start to change these things, from your fatigue levels, from how much output you're getting done in your workout. Again, it's going to be so different per individual. So give it a shot. If it does work for you, then hey, awesome. You don't have to worry about eating before your workout. You can just push over, those calories or that food into your first big meal post-workout. I say from my personal experience, I hate eating before workouts, so I will always fast through my mid-morning workouts, whether that's a 6 a.m. or a 10 a.m. I love training in a fasted state. I just feel better in general. Nothing in my gut kind of rolling around or bouncing around in there, so much easier. Okay, not too shabby. All right, going back to you, sir. Good question. How can I increase my squat depth?
It's a terrible question.
Why? Who asked that? It just needs to,
I know.
Who asked that?
Who in the world could have asked that question?
Yeah.
No, it's a good question. I think if it was more specific, that'd be better. And I think it comes back to the first thing I'll ask is like, why are you squatting? Like, what is the goal behind the squat, and what is your long-term goal overall when it comes to like exercise? So again, if you're a power lifter, you're going to need to squat. If you're just looking for general health and wellness and you don't feel like you're really good at squatting, then don't do it. You choose a different exercise that can target a similar region. So if it's your quads for this one, look into, I want to recommend similar exercises, but maybe leg extensions, but be very careful with how you do those. And with any movement, I want to say, you want to make sure that you always have like really good alignment. It feels appropriate. And so even leg extensions, I would say, depending on your level of kind of like knowledge of the human body and the gym, you may want somebody who understands what they're doing to help you with that. But to not beat around the question and actually answer it, one of the main things that you can do for increasing squat depth is just changing up your stance. And then depending on the style of squat you're doing, so if you're doing a back squat that has a tendency to cause a little bit more lean, then maybe change it to a front squat. And if you can't start with a bar, then start with like a dumbbell or something, and try to master that position and every part of that motion with whatever weight that you start with, and slowly build up from there. But yeah, again, why are you squatting?
I feel like when people try to get low, they end up doing that butt wink where your butt kind of turns under. Yeah. There can be some issues with this, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of issues. I think one of the trainers here has had that issue. If you're tuning in, you know who you are. And so one of the things that happen is that, the lower back, as it rounds, you have to think like the spine's taking force, so that force is coming down, and as that spine rounds, like those vertebrae that keep everything like nice and stable, and they're taking a lot of that compression, as they like round, you're basically creating this like weakening, and where like you can get like herniations and things. So again, why are you squatting? But if you're rounding, which some people may not know, I think a lot of people that depending on your level, and what they're trying to do. If they get really low and they round, they don't even notice it until it's pointed out to them. Because, you know, internally they're not able to like perceive all the different parts of their body. So it's helpful to have a professional help you out with that.
It's almost like a unconscious twerk. Like you don't know you're doing it until somebody points at you in the gym and you're like, you're twerking. So I guess just be mindful of it.
Well, there's a lot of other things that you can go into it. Again, stance may help. And then there's a really good bracing sequence that should be brought into your squat routine so that, you know, when you're doing it, that you can create that stability for your pelvis so that you're not allowing things to just kind of be like loose. And just as you go through the movement, things just start doing whatever you want. So, you know, with anything, you want to have complete control of every aspect of your movement as you're going through it. And I think, you know, as an overall whole, when it comes to exercise, people typically start to think about just doing the movements rather than like what muscles they're trying to target. And then, you know, when they are doing that movement, like how are they engaging throughout? And so I would say slow down and feel out every part of the movement. Because exercise is a long-term thing. Like, you're not going to be getting in the greatest shape of your life in like 4 weeks and then holding that, because you're ultimately going to degrade, as we all will. So take your time. I know.
Wow. Debbie Downer.
But it's part of it. So take your time and really get to know what it is that you're doing, and ask yourself what it is that you're doing and how does that apply to your overall goal. Exercise and sports don't need to be so closely linked that you have to do anything. But if you're going to do it, just make sure that it's in the best possible position and as safe as possible so that you can keep doing it. Because if you keep squatting or doing anything in a bad position, then you get hurt. You've now kind of worked against your overall goal, which is probably continuing doing that movement and being healthier.
So have purpose.
Yeah.
Got it.
We have 2 questions.
Awesome. Bring them on.
What's from Nashir?
Okay.
He is asking us to tell him the best food for fitness with the gym. And then a combining question from somebody else also asking, what should they have food immediately after working out? Okay.
So we're talking quality foods in general for maybe fitness related goals, maybe strength, and then as well as timing. Is that the second question?
Yeah.
Meaning immediately after? Okay. I'm a big promoter of quality foods over quantity. So quality meaning whole and unprocessed. In general, good sources of meat, sustainable, grass-fed meats. You got your complex carbs.
Even if it's a chicken, should I eat grass, Nina?
I was referring to red meats, and he's being sarcastic. Obviously, pasture-raised chickens, and as far as carbs go, complex carbs, root vegetables, starchy root vegetables, and then good healthy sources of fats. You know, everything from saturated to oils, your grass-fed butters. All of those things. So it's kind of, again, it's different for everybody. I was actually talking to you about it. We do a little bit of a flexitarian approach to fitness and how you refuel and things like that. So it is a combination of animal meats, again, quality animal meats, fish, as well as taking days off or even meals off and going meatless and focusing more on your vegetables and your fats. Yeah.
This is where I think we got knocked on in the meeting for not being like very direct when it comes to nutrition. But it's a big experiment most of the time for you as an individual. And again, what is your goal? And so, and depending on where you're at, like for me, I had a pizza last night after my workout, and I felt great this morning. But that's not something I would recommend to everybody.
Right.
And I think when it comes down to it, I mean, like having a balance of some kind and knowing your body. I mean, there are certain foods that I know that I shouldn't eat because it'll just cause a ton of inflammation, gut issues, and whatever comes down the list. So I try to stay away from those as much as possible, even if I really like them. So you have to experiment and find your own balance in a way. But those are good recommendations to start off with. Good.
And as far as timing goes, immediately following the workout, meaning like 30 minutes after, a lot of the times, if it's been an intense workout, you're not hungry.
No, your body's still freaking out from the workout.
It's in a state of distress. Yeah. So if you try shoving food in your stomach at that point, it's not going to work out very well. Yeah. I don't think.
No, I think if you were just in like a state where you were fighting for your life. So like a wild animal was attacking you, but you escaped and you're alive, you want to eat immediately after that? Like, you're probably going to take a couple hours to calm your nerves and let, like, the hormones settle down.
Absolutely.
Because all the blood's already rushed to the tissue. And so for digestion, you're actually going to be asking your body to do the opposite, which is, you know, bringing that blood back down to your center. So if anything, give yourself a couple hours, if anything, to, like, settle in. And no, I don't think the majority of you will lose all of your muscle mass in that couple hours. If you do, you may need to see a doctor because you have some rare disease.
Right. That's different. That's, yeah. I mean,
because I know that's a big thing that people will say, like, you have to eat, you know, whatever immediately afterwards. But it's like, there's so many things happening on a cellular level that, you know, if anything, let your body settle down and get to that point where it is ready for rest and digestion. Rest and digest.
Always consider that. So again, I think 30 minutes, that's, for me personally, too soon. I've waited as long as sometimes 4 hours unintentionally. Did I lose any muscle? No. But again, everybody's going to be different. So if we answered your question, we hope we did. I believe it was Nashir. Any other questions? No? All right. So what's our time?
You have 5 more minutes.
Okay, cool. All right. So we just finished with our squat depth question. Going back to another food question. Okay. We hear this every day, every single day. I know this. Client says, I need something to eat that I can just grab and go in the morning. What can I buy or what can I make? This has been a big hit for a lot of our clients, and this is a basic turkey roll-up. You take a nitrate-free, uncured basic deli turkey, and you layer it with leafy green vegetables. So you got your spinach. You can add Primal Kitchen mayo to it. You can add a little bit of avocado, roll it up, and you're done. It's like a little turkey roll-up popsicle almost.
Yeah.
That's keeping it low carb, so it's great for your rest days. But if it's on a training day, you can also add in a low-carb tortilla. One of my favorite brands now is called Siete, and they're almond flour tortillas, good quality ingredients. And so you use that as the base instead, and then you can layer with, and it doesn't have to be deli turkey. It can be whatever you want. You can spread avocado, even add in some scrambled eggs, roll it up, boom, or you're in and out in 5 minutes. Other options include maybe overnight oats. If you're not familiar with overnight oats, you basically take some type of glassware, maybe a mason jar, and you throw in a 1/4 cup of gluten-free oats. You add in about a 1/2 cup of almond milk or coconut milk. You toss in maybe some flax seeds, a little bit of berries, or strawberries, blueberries, just to give it some vibrance, extra nutrients. Then you throw in maybe a little bit of stevia if you're a sweet person, and then you mix it up, let it sit in the fridge overnight so that you can just grab and go in the morning. You don't have to reheat it. You can actually eat it cold. Some of us don't like that though. Or you can just pop it in the microwave for about 30 to 40 seconds and boom. For a little bit of texture though, add a little bit of crunch, but with walnuts or almonds, any nuts on that end. Hard-boiled eggs are always a great go-to, but a lot of people don't like that, unfortunately. But if you can, just get them from Costco. They have an organic version. Hard-boiled eggs, easy peasy. What's another one?
Coffee and fat.
Okay.
So just pick your favorite fats and put it in your coffee. I will go crazy on that.
Prime example, coconut oil, right?
Coconut oil, butter, ghee. You could do like heavy cream, some stevia.
Yes.
You could do all of those in some stevia.
Absolutely. And that will actually keep you full for a longer period of time. So if you know you have a busy morning ahead of you and you will not get to lunch till 2 o'clock, that's actually going to hold you over. Obviously, we want you to drink water in the meantime, but good healthy fats in combination with that coffee, I think it's a recipe for success.
Yeah. That kind of applies to the before workout one too. If somebody needs to really have something, like you're already up and you're going to work out early, so take your drugs with your fat.
Drugs as in
caffeine.
Yes.
Caffeine.
Yes. And good benefits to having caffeine from coffee. Yes. Another thing, making a protein smoothie the night before. Basic protein smoothie. Find a good quality, organic, gluten-free. What other requirements do we want in a protein powder? Plant-based is always good too.
Yeah, I don't know. Just find something clean. I don't know.
Clean. the fewer ingredients, the better. So you take that, add your almond milk, add maybe half an avocado or any type of nut butter, some spinach, put that in a Vitamix, boom, leave it in your fridge. That way you can just grab it and go, and that's it. Maybe a little bit of cinnamon or vanilla. Drinks that they have on the market, Orgain is one of the ones that we recommend to a lot of our clients. It's got a good flavor to it. It doesn't have too many fillers, and it is organic, and it also comes in a plant-based form as well. Any other ideas?
No, that sounds good.
Good.
And somebody said your egg bites.
Oh, my easy egg bites. Yeah, so basically muffin tin, take a muffin tin, spray it with some olive oil. You're seriously going to just layer with whatever vegetables that you want, whether that's broccoli, spinach, kale, tomatoes, onions, whatever you want. Start with that layer. Crack an egg. You don't have to mix anything. Add salt, pepper, red chili flakes, maybe some cheese on top. Put it in the oven. Boom, you're good to go in like 20 minutes. Done. Option, right? But you got to like eggs. I love eggs. Yeah? All right. Well, we had a few questions. If you guys have any more questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments and we'll get back to you at a later time. For the most part, we hope that you enjoyed something like this. We want to bring this to you on a regular basis, maybe once a month.
And if you didn't, we're going to do it anyways and we don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What he said. Whatever. And Lizzie did make her appearance earlier, so maybe she'll come back later. We'll see. Takeaways. If there's anything that you change in your lifestyle and you want to make it a habit, do it for 30 days. So whatever you took from what we said today and you're looking to implement that into your lifestyle, do it consistently for at least 30 days. You think that's,
Yeah, unless it hurts, then don't do that. Unless you're hurting something, and if it's an exercise, I just mean.
We don't want that. Or if your stomach is hurting, or if something's just not right and it doesn't feel normal for you, then obviously toss that idea.
Well, even with the stomach pain, some people might be just adjusting to actual good food. Because I know that people have actually complained to me because they eat terribly and then they start to eat actual foods or something closer. Yeah, then they actually get stomach pains from foods that are just actually better quality.
Very, very, very normal, especially when people do transition from lots and lots of carbs to minimal carbs. They almost have flu-like symptoms and you become very irritable, very tired, exhausted all the time. Just stay well hydrated and just give it a few days for your body to adjust to that.
Work through that.
Yeah, work through that. But I would say make notes, listen to your body, be your own doctor at the end of the day, and don't think that whatever your neighbor is doing, whatever the guy at the gym told you to do, that isn't necessarily going to work for you because you are 100% genetically wired different from that person. So what he needs or what she needs, that's not what you need. You need something different. So experiment. Yeah?
Sounds good.
Okay. If you like this... yes?
I think Melissa says those egg bites are seriously the best.
Oh, thank you, Melissa. We appreciate it, or at least I appreciate it. Anyways, if you like this episode, go ahead and subscribe to our podcast. Give us a review, and we look forward to bringing you another one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah? Mr. Enthusiastic. Yeah. All right, guys, everyone have a great day. Thanks.